After months of pressure for the government to call a public inquiry into foreign interference, Justin Trudeau deferred to David Johnston, and David Johnston says no.
It would have been an easy choice. It would not be the correct one.
He says that's because much of the intel he studied to draw up his report is top secret. Johnston was asked to look into foreign interference after multiple news stories alleged meddling by Beijing in the last 2 Canadian federal elections, favoring some Liberal candidates.
Several leaked materials that raised legitimate questions turned out to have been misconstrued in some media reporting.
Johnston found no evidence Cabinet ignored intelligence reports on foreign meddling, but he did identify a case when intelligence was not properly passed on to ministers after Conservative MP Michael Chong's family in Hong Kong was allegedly targeted by a Chinese diplomat 2 years ago. Johnston says it's part of a bigger problem.
I have identified serious shortcomings in the way intelligence is communicated and processed from security agencies through to government.
He is a family friend, cottage neighbor, and ski buddy of the Prime Minister.
The Conservatives dismissed the report, attacking Johnston's credibility. They also shot down his suggestion to get top secret clearance to look at a classified part of his work and come to their own conclusions.
We're not going to allow the government to silence leaders of the opposition by swearing them to secrecy on this matter of grave public importance.
I don't think Canadians would want or expect any of their leaders to choose ignorance when they can choose to have the facts laid out for them.
Johnston intends to hold some public hearings to address the issues he's outlined and write a second report by October. The opposition, though, says it won't be satisfied with anything but a full inquiry. Rafi Bujikani on CBC News, Ottawa.
Now, that report mentioned some current and former MPs by name who have been personally affected by the issue of foreign interference, facing allegations or potentially targeted. Ashley Burke brings us that side of the story tonight.
Former Conservative MP Kenny Chiu says this new report doesn't cut it. He wants a public inquiry.
Nothing short of that, it's good enough.
3 pages of David Johnston's report are dedicated to Chiu's case. He looked into allegations reported by the Globe and Mail that China's government was operating in Canada with 2 aims: ensure a Liberal minority and defeat certain Conservative candidates, including Chiu. Johnston's report concluded that China's intention appears to be focused on assisting pro-China candidates and marginalizing anti-China candidates, not party preferences. Johnston also said articles spread on Chinese social media questioning the Conservatives' China strategy couldn't be traced to the Chinese government.
A sophisticated, mature, and complex regime, it will be very unlikely that you will find the smoking gun with their fingerprints on.
Chiu is not the only MP who may have been targeted and who calls the report disappointing.
We need to have that inquiry. We need to have a commissioner that is chosen by all the political parties, so that is completely above the political fray.
The Prime Minister recently ordered CSIS to brief all MPs who may have been targeted by China's government. One of them was NDP MP Jenny Kwan. She's still waiting to meet CSIS. She joined NDP leader Jagmeet Singh during his interview with Johnston.
As a Chinese Canadian, I want to ensure that the cloud that's hanging over our head is addressed.
Independent MP Han Dong released a statement saying, "I feel vindicated by Mr. Johnston's report." Johnston said the allegation that Dong urged China to keep the 2 Michaels in jail is, quote, false. Dong stepped away from the Liberal caucus to fight those allegations. The Prime Minister says he's open to hearing from Dong about if he wants to rejoin the party. Ashley Burke, CBC News, Ottawa.
Chief Political Correspondent Rosemary Barton is here. Rosie, what is the main takeaway?
Asha, remember the reason we're here. It's because those intelligence leaks led to weeks of questions about how the government was dealing with foreign interference, and then a suggestion by the opposition parties that the Liberals were somehow benefiting from just allowing it to happen. Johnston, though, says he found no credible evidence of a cover-up or negligence. The problem is he can't tell us much more than that. So this is a really who do you trust, who do you believe question again. And Johnston is saying, listen, MPs can, on the Security Committee, they can check my work, and so can opposition leaders if they go through a security clearance. And that's an attempt to try and make this a little less political than it has been.
This issue, let's face it, doesn't appear to be going anywhere anytime soon.
The Conservatives have worked really hard to try and question Johnston's credibility and his reputation so that no matter what the outcome was today, they would have some reason to criticize him. When I sat down with David Johnston this afternoon, I asked him about that very thing. Are you really, though, the person now to look at how the systems can be improved? The Conservative leader won't even meet with you, Mr. Johnston. That's how little faith he has in your ability.
That's most unfortunate, and there's nothing I can do about that. Am I the right person? I'm sure there are many other people in the country who do this job. I've been asked to do it, and I guess I've been asked to do it because I have a track record of doing these kind of things, and I'm a professor of law and have apparently served effectively in 2 or 3 dozen other inquiries that have led to a positive result. So that's for the public to judge.
We spoke a lot more about the report, and we'll have that interview in just a few minutes.
Thanks, Rosie.